What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Wait, What Are We Talking About podcast, episode 92. My name is Bret, aka Enigma911, and today I am joined by a very special guest. I'm joined by Josh, aka Dark Stampede. Josh, how are you doing today? Oh, good. Thanks you. I appreciate you being on the podcast today, man. Especially with busy schedules, we had to flip flop around times, but I'm glad we got it to go down. I'm excited to chat with you about various topics. But chat, remember, you guys can catch this podcast live over on twitch.tv/Enigma9011 every other Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern, unless we pre-record it or something else. You can join in the chat over there. If you're a sub, we'd love to have you. If you can't sub, that's okay. Just tune in. If you can't catch it live, that's fine as well. You can go over to YouTube and SoundCloud the very next week where it's broken out topic by topic and put as one big video and MP3 on the following Friday. And last but not least, hashtag ad merch store. You can get all of your swag over there. T-shirts, cups, backpacks, and more. Rep the brand. Support us. It would be greatly appreciated. Whew. Okay. Felt like I spoke real fast on that one. I don't know. So we're here for another episode. We got Josh on. I'm excited to talk with Josh about his art. Now, if you guys have been watching the stream for a while, you might have seen a few of his pieces that I've commissioned with him go around, whether it's for Extra Life or just in general. He's very talented artist. So, Josh, I just want to start picking your brain about art. I guess we'll start right at the beginning. How'd you get started in art?
Right. As long as I could remember, as long as I could hold a pencil, I was probably doodling or sketching something. I think my earliest memory of drawing was little stick figures, and then the epiphany of adding clothes to them, and then erasing the middle.
Right.
Clothes, and it just that fun little discovery from there, and just kind of keep going on and trying. What I do, it's just like I said, for a good while now, not to say my age or anything like that, but
nice, very cool. So when you are tackling your pieces now, is there a certain process that you'll kind of go after, like of making it the final product?
So it depends on what the piece is. Usually, lately, I've been doing a lot of commissions where they want me to kind of put them in kind of my Disney/comic book style. So everything always starts with a rough gesture or a rough drawing of just kind of get the idea down. And those I can kind of get done pretty quickly. As far as, I got a napkin, I got a blank sheet of paper and a pen, I'm all set. So I'll send out a bunch of rough drafts for the client to pick. Hopefully it's something along the lines that they are looking for. If we change anything, awesome. Then I make those revisions, and then once the person is satisfied with kind of the general direction that it's going, then that's when kind of the heavy work goes into. I'm probably drawing, if it's of the person, I've probably drawn them a good 50 times.
Okay.
To do different versions to make it close to them as I can in my style, without it looking too. Because you got out in the theme parks, you have the caricature artist. I used to do that for a hot minute, and that's its own style. But taking what I learned from there and trying to implement it into my style, it's always a process. But so I'll draw the person, good probably 30 to 50 times, and then once I get a couple that I'm happy with, I'll send it out and say, hey, what do you think? And then it's a lot of back and forth with the client. My mentality is I want to make it the best it can be, and I want you to be super happy with it. If you're not feeling it, awesome. What do I gotta do to make it happen? So, but once the final line art is kind of set, then I go on to colors, and then if there's a background, if there's no background, and just kind of go from there. So it depends on what it is. If I'm doing like landscaping, again, it starts with a sketch to kind of feel out what type of landscape I'm making, playing around with it, and then from roughs, it's just building up on adding detail as I go. Kind of
cool.
So it's a lot of back and forth, and for me, the best way to go about it is have an open dialogue and communication with your client. If something happens, and say, hey, something came up, let them know. On the client side, if you're not happy with something, let the artist know. And then we can try to tweak it on our side. hopefully the way I do it is that way you're not at the finished product, and then you're like, hey, I'm not really
Right.
feeling that face. Oh, okay. Can we fix it? Yes, we can. But it would have been good to know on
Right.
the first stage versus, hey, we're here at the finish line, and no, you're doing a 5K and not just a sprint. So that's
Nice.
usually my process.
Yeah, I through our interactions, yeah, your communication definitely spot on. Like, feels good. Of like, this is the steps that we're at. This is what we're doing. This is the plan. So that's awesome. So you mentioned it with your answer, your style. You have the combination of the Disney style and the comic book style. What kind of shaped or that style for you, realizing that's what you wanted to create as your own?
So growing up, I always wanted to be a
Okay.
Disney animator. That was always something that was kind of, as a kid, maybe not necessarily instilled in me, but that's kind of like a, hey, that's what I want to do. That was my goal. That was what I wanted. So trying to recreate those scenes, trying to recreate those styles, has always been something I wanted to emulate growing up. Comic books, though, were also a really big influencer as far as my style, where your Jim Lee's, Scott Campbell's, Joe Madureira's, just those artists, always struck a chord with me, and it was always something that, hey, I think I can draw this. So I take my Superman, Death of Superman comic out here, and I just get my big sketch pad out and see if I could replicate, the panels that I saw. And then it got from trying to replicate the panels that I saw to actually, well, let me see if I can do this without looking, and then trying to break it down how the artist saw it. So I don't know. I guess I'm thinking I have a style. What that style is, I fear, is kind of checking out at the moment. But usually I try to lend towards the like I said, the Disney / comic book, towards more detail than you would normally see in a Disney animated movie, but not as much detail as you would see in like a Jim Lee, comic panel kind of deal. So just a nice little happy medium.
Very cool. Very cool. So you were doing that just on your own before, and then you started getting into the Twitch communities. Now, I first learned about you through Maximilian, dude, seeing your art through there, and then seeing you on the kind of funny stuff, it just, I don't know why, just blew my mind. I'm like, oh my god, I know that guy from over there, and now he's over here too. What kind of started like you wanting to make pieces for Max or for KF?
So yeah, I'm a fan of both of them. So I'm not the type of person that just kind of like lives on Twitch to where it's like if everyone goes online, they have their person or they're on it for 8 hours. I'm not, to be honest. I'm more of the, hey, let's put a playlist on YouTube, whether it's podcasts or something like that, and kind of watch it from there. And I think when Third Strike was coming out, the re-release that came out for the 360, I started to catch clips of Max and the stuff that he was doing with video games, and then that transitioned into Street Fighter 4. Again, I love fighting games, so seeing someone as excited about fighting games as I was, because growing up it was always me and my friends, we play fighting games. It'd be Mortal Kombat all the time, Street Fighter all the time, but slowly that would kind of die up towards like I'm the lone trooper. So seeing someone else so excited about these games, it's like, oh my gosh. So I would sit there and I would watch Max and his streams when I could. Wasn't an always thing, but I would try to get that. But then it's kind of like, yeah, I think I can draw him pretty well at least. And then I would start to do sketches. I'm not the best person on Twitter, so I would post something up there and just, okay, it was kind of fun, and I would tag him. But then to have him actually react to it, and then seeing his community just explode on it, it's like, wow, that was kind of fun. I think I could do something better than a sketch, and then it would kind of add more to it. Always loved his assist me, so if I do fan art, if it assists me, it's like, well, if he's doing something that's fighting game that's Marvel vs. Capcom 2, maybe I can do kind of replicas of comic book covers. So instead, like the Captain America shield being broken, him looking down, instead of the shield, it was his fighting stick. So it went from there, but at the same time, I was also watching the Kind of Funny crew as they started when they left IGN. And again, I can't watch every episode, but when I can, I would watch as best I could. And it's just the mentality of just kind of hanging out, have fun, and just talking about games. It wasn't something that I have immediately around me, so it's kind of nice getting that aspect of it too. And then it just like with Maximilian, it was the same thing. Well, let me see if I can draw that, and then I do a little sketch. Oh, well, they're doing a kind of funny animated kind of thing. Well, how would I do that in my style? Well, they have these cutesy characters over here. They're kind of kiddish, so let me add them as kid. And it just kind of went from there. It's usually just sketches, but it's always nice, I guess, kind of getting validation a bit for the work, and even if it's just a dumb little sketch, hey, cool, someone enjoyed it. And that's usually what my goal is for my sketches, my drawings, my paintings. Is like, did it bring a smile on anyone's face? Did it get a kick out of it? Awesome, that's all kind of deal. So it just kind of gravitated from there. So I went from that, and then fast forward to today, where I'm actually doing Kind of Funnies, which is their fun little comic strip. Which again, it was just a dumb idea. Growing up, I always loved reading Calvin and Hobbes, and the Sunday funnies, and it's like, wonder what happens if you were to just kind of do this, do a little bit of what Penny Arcade does. What would I do? And I was just doing that for fun. And then they reached out and said, hey, is that something you would like to do for us for a limited time? Sure, I would love it. And so it's just kind of very lucky. It wasn't because of anything that I did, but it just
Very cool. Very cool. And I mean, hey, you did something. You put things out there, put yourself out there. You made it happen. So congrats on that. That was very cool to hear that announced and to see the funnies. That's great. Now, circling back to the process, obviously you talked about the sketches. You talked about the digital side of things. You mentioned painting in this last answer. Is there a certain step that maybe you really enjoy in the art process?
So, I like the step between, it goes from a rough sketch to the near final one. I'm still, so a lot of this I'm still learning myself. I'm still trying to get better at what I do. And a lot of that stuff is trying to bring the energy that I have in my rough sketches and try to keep that energy as I make it a final piece. A lot of artists are really good at it. Sean Cheeks on Twitter, he is, if you want to see an artist that has motion in their drawings, he's the guy to check out. So for me, that step in between where it's like I have enough details to know what it is, and it's enough energy on there to where it's like, okay, now let's add color and try not to mess it up. So for me, that point is kind of what I like the most. Short of actually, hey, the piece is done. Here we are. Put the final bells and whistles on there, and did they like it or not? All right, let's see. So between those two would probably be my two favorite spots. The in between, when you're looking at a blank canvas, just by the way, when you're on there, I'm like, all right, I got to pay the forest. No idea how I'm gonna do that. And then you start putting like, all right, well let me put the ground down. Let me put some bushes and trees on here. Bob Ross makes it a lot easier than it actually is. And you look at it, and there's always a point with every sketch to where it's like, this is a hot mess. I don't know what to do with this. So it's like, all right, well, then I have to force myself just just focus on one thing. Let's focus on this one bush. Let's focus on a Disney castle. Maybe just part of the Disney castle. you know what I mean? So it's a process. For the most part, it's fun. It's very stressful because a lot of times it's how you have it in your head. It's not necessarily coming out, and then it's okay. how do I make it look how it is, how I'm thinking, and trying to figure out as best you can.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's always my biggest hurdle. It's like, I can picture it up here, great. What's happening right there? Oh, no.
Hey, can you draw me and my best friend out here? We want to be wrestling on here. Okay, well, I can do that. Well, how about you doing like a Macho Man elbow drop? Yeah, no, we just want to be commentating.
Oh.
Okay, so I'll do like the hard shot where you have the commentators, and then we want something more action oriented. It's like, okay,
right.
How do I do that? How do I turn this and make it interesting? And that's always the fun part and the super stressful part.
Nice. With your process, is there any skills that you want to get better at? All the time.
Everything.
Okay.
And anything.
Okay.
I guess still anatomy. I think that's for a lot of artists. It's just better at anatomy. If I can draw hands like Milt Khan, who former Disney animator, that would be the highlight. That would be the top of the mountain where like I have achieved. I've made it. I can draw hands like Milt Khan. That's not probably not going to happen at all. But that and I'm fairly confident with my line art and inking. I'm still kind of getting used to. So even though I've been doing it for a couple of years, still getting used to trying to give people the best version ink-wise that I can through Clip Studio Paint. I'm the guy that would, growing up, it was okay. Well, I need to learn how to ink and do comics just like the masters out there. So I would have my 11x17 board. I would have my drawing on there, and it would be me getting Indian ink, and we would ink it. And that is super fun. It's super therapeutic. And then trying to better at doing that, then transition that over to get that. But as far as, like I said, the line art, I think it's okay, but I'm still really trying to get better at painting. Trying to the mechanics behind it. I would like to one day be a concept artist for a studio. So a lot of that's just breaking down what's the quickest, easiest way to get in there, get out, paint what you got to do, and hey, cool, now you got a balcony. That doesn't look like trash. You know what I mean? So painting and then getting faster at that painting would probably be number one up there. Which I have a couple gumroads that I purchased. Once I'm done with my commissions, that's what I'm going to do. Is I'm just going to deep dive into that and then deep dive into more.
Oh, okay.
Because I think it's cool that someone can just take their sketches and like, hey, now I got 3D model of it. I think it would be awesome if I could do that with Maximilian Dude, to where like I can set it up as like, hey, here's a 3D printed statue.
Right.
Merry Christmas. Or with the style that I have for the kind of funnies, just hey, here's a paperweight. It's just a statue I made in ZBrush. I know the basics of it, but it's a jump from knowing the basics to it to where like, boom,
oh yeah,
So, painting. So I'd probably say the painting and the ZBrush are what I'm kind of focused on right now to bring out my art game.
Cool. Yeah, ZBrush is an amazing program. I used
it.
So
cool. And
yeah, I went to college for game design, only a 2-year, but we used it right at the tail end, and man, like, so much fun just messing around with that. Like, I didn't make anything super fancy. Like, looking at my classmates, like, shit, okay, well. But man, I've always wanted to jump back into that program and just try it out some more. Like, I still have the textbook. Maybe reading that a little bit more might have helped, but even just tinkering around with it would be fun. But that's cool. That's cool that you want to tackle that. Very cool. So any big goals that you have for your art that you want to maybe try and work towards or achieve?
Big goals, again, would probably be to work for a studio. At the end of the day, like, I got a 9-to-5 job. It's great. It pays bills, roof over my head. I can't knock it for that. But if I'm being honest with myself, I would like to do this for a living. I would like to be an artist for a living. Nerf Alice, she was awesome and was able to take that extra step with her Patreon and was able to do that, so where now she can do that for a living.
Okay.
I'm scared. So I don't know if I'll ever get to that point to where I don't know if there'd be enough people interested enough in me to be able to do that. But working for a studio as a concept artist would be super fun for me. I still have aspirations to be an animator. So yeah, either something along those lines. It'd be kind of cool if I can say, hey, see that T-shirt? That's my drawing. That'd be really cool to say that. But I think long term, yeah, it would just be like I said, an artist for a studio, for a group, for a company, to where I can do that, do it for a living, and not have to worry if the lights are going to stay on.
For sure.
So.
Okay. And then my last question is, do you have a favorite piece that you've worked on? I mean, it could be numerous, yeah.
So I am super fickle to where it's like I will like one of my drawings one day and then turn around and it's like,
oh, gotcha.
What is? No, I do that, and that's why a lot of people are like, oh well, let me, I like to have you draw me a tattoo, and it's like, do that.
Right.
Show me afterwards, or whatever. Favorite piece. So I'm pretty fond of the Disney Castle pieces that I've done for a couple people, to where I'm able to take that background and I have a nighttime setting where the castle's lit up in the purples and the pinks. I have a midday setting. That would be the Star Wars one I did for Mr. Hoops, I believe. That it's midday, and then I have an early morning one that I'm pretty happy with those. It's still, again, I think just with any artist, we're never happy with everything that we do. There's always something you want to change. There's still things I want to change on there, get better with the crowds that I have in there, but I think overall those are kind of my favorite set pieces on there. That's kind of around the time I felt that my digital painting skills were kind of getting close to where my line art is. So looking for the best way to do shadows in a piece, highlights, what's the best way to do that to where it actually looks like it belongs in the piece and not just a muddy mess. That's that can be an easy pitfall for a lot of digital artists when you're just starting out, to where it's you try to shade a picture, and I'm going to shade this apple, and it would just be darker shades of an apple of that red color, and not actually take into account what actual color does, to where, hey, you want to do a hue shift to where you want cooler colors for your shadows, or depending on what your background is, do you want to make it warm colors to make that pop as best as you can. So I think probably around there is probably, like I said, probably my favorite at the moment, just for, like I said, because I felt like my painting is kind of starting to come into its own. Still always trying to improve myself with everything. Like, I'll start a new piece, and it's like, it might as well have been the first time I'm doing it. It's like, how do I do this again? And then it's like, okay, no, let's break it down into pieces. But cool. I'd say those three.
Nice.
That I did.
Very cool. All right. Well, that's going to wrap up my topic, Josh. Really fun picking your brain about the art stuff. And yeah, if you ever feel like doing the Patreon, I know like you said, you're a little nervous about it. I totally understand that. I have the utmost faith in it that, with you putting yourself out there with the KF community, obviously doing the work you're doing there now with the funnies, you got Max's community, like, as long as you keep putting stuff out there, like, I think the audience is there for you for sure. So if you decide to go that route, I definitely think you do it. Best of luck, but you're crushing it now. So keep doing what you're doing, man. Yeah. So moving on to topic 2, Josh, what is your topic today?
Topic numero dos. So I don't do enough video game talk at all, and so I thought it'd be fun to pick out a game that you would like to actually come back, something that has been out for a while, and how would you bring it back? Would it be a straight remaster, one for one, just with a fresh new coat of paint, a la, what was it, Demon's Souls? Would it be a reimagining of it to where now you're actually messing with the systems of it, what would you do with it? What would you bring back, and how would you change
Okay, interesting. Do you have an example that you're thinking off the top of your head for yourself? Ooh, okay.
So, for me, and I still want this every day. That's kind of what I'm excited for, the Square Enix one. It'll never happen, but we got Kingdom Hearts 3.
Yeah, finally.
So maybe a pipe dream could work. I was actually thinking of the Legacy of Kain games,
okay.
Soul Reaver games. So growing up, I had a ton of different games I was into. If it was fighting games, if it was the WCW Revenge wrestling games, I was always into them. But the Soul Reaver games, for me, were just so great because it was kind of like, hey, this is what you can do with a story. This is how you can actually make it more cinematic and beyond, what Metal Gear Solid was. But just for me, it was awesome. It blew my little mind out there that everything was, had voice acting on there. Everything was relative to what you're doing, and it just had a cool aesthetic to it. I don't know if I would necessarily, at the very least, I would just like either port something that you can play on the newer consoles. It drives me crazy, Phil Spencer, that you have an Xbox that has backwards compatibility, and I still cannot play Defiance. Cannot play it, but I can play a Barbie game from whenever, but I can't play Defiance. How dare you? This is a travesty. We need to fix this right now, Phil Spencer. I know you're watching. Make it happen. Anyways, so short of that, I think it'd be kind of cool. There's been a treasure trove of releases and remakes as of late, but I would like to see the Legacy of Kain series get that and get an earnest one. Either how we got with the Crash and Sing trilogy, to where it's like, hey, here it is with a fresh coat of paint on there. I would be ecstatic with that. I would love that. If I were to tweak any of the games, it'd probably be the first one, just because they didn't get time to flesh out certain puzzles didn't necessarily make sense in the context of the story and the narrative, because they had another brother that they actually had to write off, and they had to cut his entire section. I think it was Melchiah. They had to cut his whole section just because they needed to release the game. So if it'd be one of those like, hey, let's fix that and maybe add his part in there, or just flesh that part out why he was in there more, not just, hey, he happened to escape. It'd probably be that first game. Changes that I would probably do would just be purely on the combat part of it. Those games are fun. I like the puzzle games aspect of it. Those are a nice kind of relaxing. Okay, just like with Ratchet and Clank, how you have just sections of just, hey, I'm gonna do a puzzle. I'm okay with that. But the combat can get kind of too loosey goosey. You're just kind of swiping, and a lot of it, you don't have a whole lot of reaction animations that kind of feel meaty on there. So if I were to make one big adjustment on that, it would be the concept, or excuse me, the combat part of those games. Maybe give it a platinum style to it, not over the top crazy. Dial it down back a little bit, but you have your light, your heavies, and just a combat system that has meat and potatoes to it. Would probably be the one thing that I would change if I'm changing it. But that would be my Gatorade get hype moment. All right, throwing the headphones off. Here we go. This is what we're doing. It'd be a new Soul Reaver game. And if they want to just continue or make a sequel with it, do the Crash 4 route, to where it's like, yep, those games happen. We're doing our own thing now, and the story continues. I'd be totally down with that. I would love the heck out of that. Just anything in that universe. Not the multiplayer thing that we got. What was it, 5-6 years ago? That's not so weird. That's not so weird. But besides that, I'd be down with that. So that would be
cool. So I thought of a couple different ones. The one that stood out the most, we talked about Ratchet and Clank before stream, and you just brought up Crash a few times. I'm not the only one. I want my boy Sly Cooper back in the light. Let's take 1, 2, 3. I don't know, like, obviously fresh coat of paint. I don't know if you saw it. When the Ratchet and Clank movie came out, there was rumors of a Sly Cooper movie, and they had like a teaser test reel thing. I don't know if I want it in that art style, but spruce it up, make it nice. And then I would just keep them the same, to be honest. I mean, they were great as is, so yeah, just whoop, facelift it and put it back out there. At least the first 3. 4 was great. I liked 4 a lot, but I don't know if you need all 4 of them to kind of go into there. Maybe because it did wrap the story in with the end of 3 and then how it ties in with 4. So maybe you do all of them. But yeah, just get him back in there. Like, what are we doing?
What are we doing with this?
So,
no, we can have 20 Call of Duties, but they can't have actual art. Here we go.
So yeah, that was the big one that stood out.
Would you keep in that cell shaded look, or would you tweak it a bit to kind of either give it that Ratchet and Clank to where it's cartoony, but you do have some fur textures on there, or would it just be like an update of that style, just super cell shaded, thick, outlines?
Man, that's a tough question, because I totally obviously with you bringing it up, it's obviously it's clear as day that it's there, but I wasn't thinking about that. So I think I was going more Ratchet and Clank, like the movie 2016-esque look, where not realistic, but like, but I don't know, like, obviously with the old ones being cel shaded, I don't know, would that mess with stuff too much where things don't look super, like certain aspects of it, I don't know. So I'm leaning towards more the Ratchet and Clank look, but that'd be an interesting thing to play around with. I don't know. Maybe that could be like a setting, like turn it on, turn it off.
Right.
Yeah.
Nice. That'd be cool. I can do that. I'd be good with the Ratchet and Clank setting if it's one of those like, hey, we're just kind of rebooting it from here. Yes, the previous games happened, but from here on, this is going to be our new starting point. I'd be fine with that. If they're going to have to go into that cell shaded route, just so everything would match up, you know what I mean? But if you're doing it with a different hype underneath it, where it's like Cooper, this is the starting point. There you go. Then I think you can get away with a new art style like Ratchet and Clank, and the fans for the most part would be okay with it. I could be wrong, but I'd be down for that.
Yeah, another one.
You know what? Just make it the trifecta. Make it Jack and Ratchet 2. Just give us all 3 of them. You'll be fine. We got a Ratchet. No, we get a Sly. We get
all the old ones back.
Out there.
Yeah. Along with that, obviously as fighting game fans, I mean, it's the one I think we're all waiting for eventually. In the 1 in 1 million billion % odds that it ever happens. Give us Marvel vs. Capcom 2 again. I don't care if it's still broken. Just fucking put Marvel 2 out. Just remake.
Please again. I have it. It's stuck on my 360. And that's where it's going to be. I can't transfer it over to my Xbox One because licensing. Thank you, Marvel. And it's just, it's there on an Oasis. And man, that would be awesome. Just re-release it. Just re-release it. Use the same janky coding that you have. You don't have to throw in rollback. Rollback would be awesome. Don't get me wrong, but I'd be happy with anything on there, to be honest. I'm pretty convinced that series might be just done and over with. Just with the current state of how Marvel is with their licenses, I felt they threw Capcom a bone and say, "Hey, go ahead and make Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. Do your thing on there." But because I honestly think it was the art style that killed that game, Whereas you came out with a gorgeous game and Dragon Ball Fighters, at the same time you have a 1-to-1 kind of thing. Well, this is what we want. This is what you're giving us. And yes, the fighting style in Infinite is great. It's just I think the art style completely obliterated. And if you don't think so, just
yeah.
So I'll leave with that. Oh boy, but I kind of think that series might be dead. I would hope that Capcom would just be like, we'll take our Versus series and just make it with ourselves. It'd be the easiest in and out, and then keep that style play. But if Capcom's not interested in either, I kind of it kind of looks like Arc System is the one picking up that torch with their Fighters series, and with rumors that the next one could be a My Hero Academia one. That would be amazing. That would be head tilting. Just you give me a My Hero Academia in the style of Dragon Ball Fighters, and you ain't gonna see me for a year and a half. I'll come in just to see the sun still up. Yeah, still going around. All right,
my god,
here we go. I'm just saying. So would I like Capcom to make another one? I would love that. I think Marvel's done it. They're kind of looking at the sales from the last one, saying,
right,
no one bought it, so clearly you guys don't want it. Which they're not wrong. It's just that's
right.
not what we want. we want Capcom to have fun with it versus like they did back in the day. Give us the stupid janky stuff, where we can go crazy with combos and there's glitches and all that, but that was how it was at the time. But give us cool art style. Let us have the X-Men. Doesn't have to be a movie tied with it. You have comics that are the X-Men titles right now are freaking awesome when it comes to on the comic side. Just give us that, But I think that ship has sailed. Would I love one? Obviously I would. Am I hopeful? No.
Yeah, I'm always gonna keep that sliver of prayer in there. And I mean, Arcade One putting out the arcade machines last September. Oh shit, it's been almost a year already. Oh, yeah, the 1-up machines. Yeah, I got it over there. So I'll just keep that. I'm like, if that can get released, there's a baby. Maybe.
I see that one in the time, and I'm just like, I can finally do it. I can make an arcade. I see the price tag.
Yeah. So I don't know. That would be awesome, but yeah, like you said, the odds are very low. So we'll see. And then I think I got one curveball one. This game was not great at all, gameplay wise, but it had a lot of hype going into, and had a very cool art style. I don't remember if you, or I don't know if you remember the game Brink. It was on 360. I don't know if it was on PS3, but it was like a.
Was that the one with the weird gator guy?
He had like a green mask.
Kind of like
kind of. Yeah, is the game covers like a blue screen, and he's got like this hood, and he's jumping in. I think he's got a mask on. I don't remember. This is falling apart as I'm explaining it. But like it was cool in it was cool in concept. It had it was just a team-based shooter and good mobility, similar to how Apex Legends has kind of done it now. And the gunplay was really good, but the where it fell was like its depth. Like it was super repetitive, and their maps just were not great at all. So like it died pretty fast. But like I said, it seemed like a lot of people were interested into it when like when like it launched and art style and stuff. So maybe like taking that and like heavy rework into something like, I don't know, that might be cool.
That would be cool. I'd be down for that. I'm still, I'm also pining for either re-releases, remakes of stuff in like Square's old catalog, like Vagrant Story. Load Ever Living Crash. Did I read Vagrant Story? I'm like, no, never beat Vagrant Story. But I tell you, I play that intro a good 50 times off the top of my head, just watching the cinematics of it. Interesting fighting system. Parasite Eve. Okay. That'd be it. That'd be kind of interesting. So I think that would sell. Probably not. That's probably why we haven't seen it. But I don't know what 360 PS3 era game I would bring back.
Okay.
I like to see Infamous on PS5, PS4. Even if it's just re-releasing it for the system, because I've only played the first one, and I love the first one. The first one was great. Didn't get a chance to play 2, but heard good things. Second Son, it never grabbed me, but I don't know if I was necessarily giving that a fair chance. But the Infamous series, that'd be that.
Gotcha. Okay.
Either let me see a re-release of that or just continue with it. You know, even if it's just like a side studio, um, with Insomniac.
Yes.
Insomniac, right? Yeah. So if you have one team that's working on a Spider-Man game, which I'm assuming there's probably going to be like
Right.
now, and then a side team either flip-flopping between Ratchet or Infamous, I'd be fine with that.
Yeah, I'm sure there'd be.
Because I think that Naughty Dog is kind of doing something similar. It's where they have one team doing the Last of Us remake, which I don't know if we're getting a remake, but we're getting a remake. But then another team is also working on another side project. So
yeah,
I'd be fine with that. I'm just saying.
I'm sure there. I'm sure there'd be an audience for that. Like I had Kyle on a few weeks ago, Stevenson, Mr. K Step, and I know he's really into Infamous and listen to Dollar Slice and 6-1 Indie stuff. Like there seems to be a lot of them. They're like, yeah, Infamous was great, and that second one they seem to go all about. And like I've played 1, 2, and Second Son, enjoyed them. I wasn't like, oh my god, that's amazing. But you know, it'd be cool. I'd be totally fine, seeing it.
Yeah. I'm just saying, I'd buy it.
Yeah. Nice. Any others that come to mind that you can think of? Right.
Yeah. I mean, just off the top of my head, I would love a return to the Aki style of wrestling games. Okay. I think that the simulation of the current ones, I think, has just been detriment to them, to where I like aspects of it, but those are some slow games. And then you add on top of it the bugs that are with the WWE 2K games on there. It's just no, where and it's a system that is easily abused, especially like if you go online. If I would always turn the setting for creative wrestlers off, because you would 9 times out of 10 you're gonna find someone that just finds one move that can get through most of the other wrestlers' animations, and you just do that on repeat. And it's like, all right, that was a thing, but as for the Aki style wrestling games, WCW Revenge, WrestleMania, I would like to see return to that. Supposedly AEW's version is going to be that, and they showed off a trailer. It looked pretty snappy. I don't know if it's just because I'm used to the WWE games, because that's all we've had. The animation seemed pretty quick when it showed the again, just the quick little snippet of it. But I would cross my fingers that might be a return to those style of games. I'd be all for that. Just sign me up. Just turn my brain off and go play some wrestling games.
Yeah, just some dumb fun, like hopping back into those. Yeah, we'll have to see where the AEW game goes. Like with the WWE games and even like Fire Pro, like those seem like opposite ends of the spectrum. Like they're cool, like you said, they're great for certain things. Like obviously Fire Pro's got the numerous created things that you can do, and people make some crazy shit. But like gameplay's not fun personally for me. I'm like, this is super technical. I don't know, whatever. And then WWE, like obviously you get the names that we know super well, and you get the presentation aspect of it. 20 regardless. Let's just throw that history out there. Like a lot of fun, consistent. Yeah, consistent. And like I think the thing there, at least for me with past years, is like the story modes kind of lacked. So like with it being the gameplay, like you mentioned, like it's not always fun to just be like, hey, let's all jump into this and play it multiplayer, because people are like, I don't understand what I'm doing, kind of thing. Like it's not as simple as the games like of past, like you mentioned, or there were some PS2 ones. I think it was like SmackDown, not the one everybody rants on. Here Comes the Pain. I never played that one, but like SmackDown 1 and 2, I think those were the ones I'm thinking of. Those were a lot of fun. You could just jump into, hit a few buttons, you're doing stuff. It's the story modes were like hit or miss. Like the showcase modes were great and fun, but then sometimes the my player, whatever, the my wrestler, the one you make for yourself, like had potential. There was one year I don't remember if it was 18 or 17, but they had the thing, and you would start, developmental, then you go NXT, and then you move up to one of the main rosters, and then you're going from there. I was in NXT, and I'm doing, like, they're supposed to put you in different storylines and whatever. I'm in a storyline with Big Cass, and cool, great, things are happening, getting attacked. I fought him in a singles match for like 6 weeks straight, and I'm like, can we please do something different? Can I wrestle somebody else, an interference or backstage promo or something, or like a tag team match or gimmick match? Give me something. Like, I just can't. I can't escape this man. Then I finally got out of that storyline with him, get into a new one. And guess who I'm wrestling again? Not even in the storyline. I'm fucking wrestling Big Cass again. It's like, come on, please.
I'm done with this game.
Yeah.
Tap out.
Oh God.
Nah, I can never do the story modes for the creative wrestlers, and it's a 2-part. Like, I always want to create myself in those games. Just the features that they have for the creative wrestlers. I feel with those games, it would really go a long way with them if they were to do a stylized take on the wrestlers, to where it'd be something kind of along the lines of EA Big with NBA Street, to where it's they're caricatures of who you're doing, and you have a lot more play that you can have with systems when it's in that style, because you're going to get, for me at least, you're going to get too much Uncanny Valley, to where you'll have a wrestler, you'll have like The Rock, where he looks great, but then you have a creative wrestler, and the gap between the two are so far. And granted, you're using a face scan versus sliders, But I feel like if those games were to come up with a stylized look to them, you can kind of get somewhere kind of close and close that gap on there, and not the weird kind of action figure-y look that was at Battlegrounds that came out. So I think that's too much on there. For me, man, if you get that and you put on there, what was it? Disney. Disney Infinity.
Little action figure things, the Portal.
I feel like if you have a demo that you're able to scan it, if you can kind of get in that style, to where it's quick, it's recognizable, you know who the wrestlers are. You don't have to necessarily go crazy with body proportions, but you could if you wanted to. I think that would make those games go a lot farther, especially if you're in a situation like they're in now, to where they took a year off, thankfully, to update their system. But now you have the recent firings from the WWE, to where it's like, hey, that animator that spent all that time putting everything together, and the artist that went into making the models, there's a good chance that Vince is like, nah, I don't want to be in there now. Cool, that was awesome, great, wasted 8 months of my time, But so it's kind of harder to. I guess my point is to play a lot of those older games, because when you go realistic, that for me that only has a certain shelf life, Whereas again, if I go back and play something that's super stylized, I can keep going on that and know that, hey, that's what it is, and still enjoy it and not want to rake my eyes out. I can still go play Disney Infinity and know, okay, this is what it is. I'm in a giant toy box. Here we go, and the graphics aren't necessarily a roadblock for me. I feel you make your creative wrestler, you can have a lot of fun messing with those proportions, and it would kind of look right. Versus, again, because you're having scanned models come in here, and then your creative wrestlers, their sliders, that gap is too wide for me. So I would like to see that happen with those, but it's 2K. They're all about there. We're gonna do our realistic stuff, which cool, fine.
Yeah.
Hopefully,
we'll see. Yeah, we'll have to see with 2K22 or whatever it is when that rolls out, how that works. And Battlegrounds, like. There was a whole thing that was up with that. Like, I like the cartoony art style, like you mentioned. Unlocking the roster was really weird. You had a limited roster, and then you got buying with in-game currency. I do appreciate the free updates where they're adding like 10 wrestlers like in chunks, I do appreciate that. Yeah, every wrestler, it's no like season pass, it's just whoosh, they're in there. So that's nice. But yeah, that game, at least that one specifically, like it's fun to play, but it doesn't have like the longevity of like I want to keep playing this for a long time. Like other ones have, like I don't remember if you know the what was it? It was a similar style to this one now, but they're all like super huge and it was cartoony. All Stars. Yeah. That one was pretty fun. That one was a lot of fun. So yeah, it's just finding that balance because like obviously the NBAs and the Maddens, like they work super realistic. So like I get why they're trying to tackle that. I don't know. Maybe if they did like, now it's more work, but maybe if they did 2 games, not every year, but like you could do the yearly simulated one. But then every once in a while, like if you did Battlegrounds, make Battlegrounds also fun. Like put those out every once in a while. You know, like you can kind of hit both sides of the market there. Kind of thing.
I think that would benefit them the most is to do the Call of Duty thing to where you have alternate studios rotating out what they're doing to where one year, hey, you are going to go the sim heavy route. So with the 2K games that they're working on now, but then the following year, have the cartoony over the top one. I think that would help them out a lot. That way, it still keeps what they're trying to because I think WWE's mandate is that they had to have a game release every year, barring last year because it was so bad because of them changing, getting rid of Ukes. That wasn't going to happen. But I think that's like one of the big mandates that you would pick that box, and still come up with something that might appease both sides, because there are a lot of people that love the sim aspect of it. A lot of people hate it. A lot of people want it to be more, SmackDown. Here comes the pain, to where it's more arcadey. And then you got guys like me to where it's like I kind of want that dial just a little bit more, to where into not necessarily. See, when I think of wrestlers that are like launching into the stratosphere and then landing on there, my brain goes to the old WWF. What was it? I think it was WWF Arcade, to where you would have the photograph wrestlers, kind of like what they were with combat, but your Undertaker, but Undertaker would come up and hit you with a literal tombstone, and it was super arcadey foot. It was done fun, cool. Give me something of that, and just have a nice rotation to where when it comes back to the sim guys, they've had time to implement something that would be worthwhile. A lot of people complain about their GM mode. A lot of people complain about their creative wrestler story. Like, I like the idea of, hey, I got this creative wrestler, I'm going to start from the very bottom and go up. But that's
right.
Not my cup of tea. And whereas you see the showcases that they had, I freaking love those. I didn't like all aspect of it, because a lot of times it felt like trying to hit the extra little box, like hit Kane up against a cage, and a lot of times it would work. It's like,
right.
What am I not doing? Why is it not working? But compared to the other one, I would take that any day of the week. Give me a different showcase, give me a different wrestler every year or every release on there. Cool, I'm set. I like it. But that would be cool. That'd be great, and do that. Have the off release every other year and just go back and forth between the two. But I don't know. We'll see. Like I said, Battlegrounds was my cup of tea. Just I don't like the idea of all the high flyers having the same movesets. You know what I mean? All the big guys have the same movesets. But I also get maybe they were on a time constraint to where they couldn't flesh that out.
Yeah, it could have been, especially with the no 2K21. Like, oh, we got to put something out, to quickly throw this at the wall.
Yeah. But yeah, if they do what you said and just have an off year, cool. Now they have an extra year to differentiate that, make that, push that,
For sure.
That'd be nice.
Nice. That was a fun topic. Very cool, very cool. So we're going to be moving on to topic 3. We're about to go through the lightning round of questions. So, viewers, if this is your first time checking out the podcast, what I like to do when it's somebody's first time on the podcast like Josh is today, I'd like to take him through the lightning round of questions so you guys kind of get to know them a little bit better. So I'm going to ask Josh a series of questions. He's just going to answer with the first thing that comes to his head. Any answers he wants to elaborate on, he's more than welcome to. But if he just wants to leave it the answer, he's more than welcome to do that. Josh, are you ready? Okay. Nothing too bad. First one's super easy. Favorite color? Okay. All right. Cats or dogs? Okay.
Cats.
Favorite game? No. Favorite game? Okay. Okay.
Boy.
Favorite movie? Okay.
That's a toughie. So I'm very fickle when it comes to with movies. It seems like every day of the week I have a new favorite. Usually, if it's something that I am constantly putting in and watching, probably
nice. Okay.
I think it's an underrated Disney movie. It is hilarious. I don't care what you say. It is one of the funniest Disney movies out there. So I'm gonna go with that one.
Nice. Favorite type of music?
I'm gonna sound like a broken record. I don't necessarily stick to a genre, but if radio defaults, it's usually country or pop. If it's something that I want to play music to put me in a good mood because I've had a crummy day, I'm probably gonna put a Disney playlist on it.
There you go.
But for the radio, yeah, I'd probably say country or pop.
Favorite song?
Oh, that's a good question. Just for the silliness of it, I'm gonna go with "Hero" from the Spider-Man soundtrack. Just because I feel that can be very comical to me. Just any kind of impressions for that, yeah. We'll go with that.
Dream job when you were a kid? Nice.
Disney animator.
No, you were good. I mean, we talked about it earlier, so it's fresh on the brain. Right. If you could have any animal to be a pet, what would it be? If you could have any animal to be a pet, what would it be?
Let's see. So, I like birds, but my allergies, they do not. They prevent me from enjoying the coolest part of life, is to have a pet, unfortunately. But if I'm just factor that out there, oh, jeez, I don't know. Gonna go with the tiger.
Very nice.
Just we'll go tiger. Be ridiculous. Yeah, sure, why not? If I get to pick any kind of random animal I want on Earth, we'll go with that one. Just
nice.
Sure.
If you could meet one celebrity, regardless of status, alive or dead, or their level of fame, who would it be?
I think Jack Black would be super fun to hang out with. Either just at a lunch, just hanging out for the day. I think it'd be pretty cool.
Nice.
Jack Black.
Favorite season?
Fall, but specifically when there is so I'm here in Florida, where
are there seasons in Florida?
No, it is hot, staying hot, and oh dear God, it's hot. But we get like 3 days out of the year to where it's fall season, where it's just a twinge colder than it normally is. And cold is relative. I get people from Minnesota, it's not very cold for me there, but for me, yes. If it dips into the low 70s, I'm good. That's great. But so I'm gonna go with fall. But again, it's Florida, so again that changes. Hey, 112.
Right.
Sure. Why not? I gotta go outside and cut grass. Yeah. I'll go ahead and tell my loved ones that I love them and go with it.
Favorite holiday?
Holiday. Let's see. So I'm gonna go with, even though I haven't participated a whole lot, I'm gonna go with Halloween. Love Night Before Christmas. I love the fact that everyone just gets to decorate their houses and just dumb spookiness, and seeing what levels people take their decorations to. I have a good time with that. I was a face painter for the longest time in the theme parks, and so having someone hop in the chair and I turn them into a zombie or a dinosaur or whatever. I always had a lot of fun with that. So I say, Halloween would be probably my favorite. Close second, just Christmas. Just again, it's nice and cold. Right. It's not humid outside, and everyone has a bunch of colors on the houses.
Nice. All right, sidebar question, because we've been talking a lot of Disney, and you just brought up Nightmare Before Christmas. Have you either gone to or seen the overlay over in Disneyland for the Haunted Mansion for Halloween times? Okay. If you get a chance, YouTube it. So Haunted Mansion, I'm sure you know that ride. Going around. Over in Disneyland, during their Halloween season, they will change the overlay, and it's Nightmare Before Christmas themed. Very cool. Ooh. Very cool.
I gotta check that out. No, and I wonder if Disney World does that too. So they have a cool thing that they do, or at least in the past couple of years, is they go all decked out with Halloween stuff, but certain sections of Disney World, like, it is very Nightmare Before Christmas inspired by. If you ever get a chance to check it out, whether it be someone doing a YouTube kind of thing, it's pretty fun. It's pretty fun. It's not fun when it's 8 o'clock at night and it's 95 degrees out there, but it's fun.
All right, back on to the questions. We got 2 left. What is a skill you wish you could have?
Wish I could sing better. So I used to could back in my day. Used to be in chorus and all that fun stuff, and I always fancy myself like, I can carry a tune. I don't think that's the case, but if I had another skill, that I can that I had, even just moderately okay, if for nothing else, just so I can sing a couple tunes to my babe, just to show that I love her, kind of thing, or to my kiddos, and not make them run from
All right. And then last question: what is a game that you recommend I play?
What you played? But let's see. What is a fun? What would be something? Okay, so fighting game enthusiast. How deep are we going?
Whatever you want.
I don't know if you get a chance to play any of the what was it, Darkstalkers?
Yep.
From Capcom. So they had a re-release around the same time as the Marvel vs. Capcom ones, and they had one that came out as, I guess, a test just to see if they're going to make a sequel, if there would be any interest on this. So they did the re-release on there. It's really good. The netcodes is, if I'm not mistaken, the same netcode that they used for the Marvel vs. Capcom re-release, so it's okay enough. It's not rollback, excuse me, but it's pretty good. I would say if you get a chance, get the opportunity, find an old 360 on eBay that has it on there. I would say give that a shot. The Darkstalkers, I think it was like HD re-release. It's good times. It's good stuff. I don't know if you're going to anyone else play it. It admittedly, it did not do so well, but I'd say that.
Cool.
Which I wish they did the same thing with Onimusha. I wish that got another shot, got another shake at the stick at, because that was a fun series.
Nice. Well, everyone, this has been another episode of the Wait What We Talk About podcast. My name is Bret, aka Enigma911, and today I was joined by Josh, aka Dark Stampede. Today, Josh, thank you so much for being on the podcast today. It means a lot. Hope you had fun.
Thank you.
Good. I'm glad. Remember, viewers, you guys can catch this podcast live over on twitch.tv/Enigma911 every other Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern, unless we pre-record, but we'll let you know ahead of time. Don't worry. You can join in on the chat over there if you're a subscriber. We'd love to have you. If you can't catch it live, that's A-OK. Go to YouTube and SoundCloud the very next week, where it's broken out topic by topic and put as one big video in MP3 for your amusement on the following Friday. And last but not least, #ad merch store. You can get all of your swag over there, t-shirts, cups, backpacks, and more. Rep the brand, support us. It would be greatly appreciated. Josh, once again, thank you for being on, man. Really appreciate it.
Hey, thank you.
Nice.
That was a lot of fun. Thank you.
Viewers, listeners, appreciate you guys tuning in. We will see you guys on the next one. Take care.